This is for those who walk alone, for the ones who've always felt different, the ones who never quite fit in. This is for the lone wolves. If you've ever felt misunderstood, isolated, or like the world just doesn't get you, you're not alone and feeling alone. But here's the truth. The lone wolf doesn't need to be understood. The power of solitude. When you walk alone, you get to know yourself on a level that most people will never understand. Solitude is a mirror. It shows you who you really are. Being a lone wolf doesn't mean you're lost. In fact, solitude has a way of sharpening your focus, making you more resilient, and ultimately, more powerful. The world is noisy. Everyone wants your attention, your energy. But the lone wolf? They choose silence. Because in silence, there is clarity. In isolation, there is strength. This is where transformation begins. People are often afraid to be alone because they fear what they might find. But that's exactly where the lone wolf thrives. Alone in the wilderness of their own mind. When you're a lone wolf, you learn to rely on yourself. No one is coming to save you. And that's where you find the greatest freedom. The lone wolf mentality. The lone wolf mentality is not just about survival. It's about thriving in adversity. It's about not waiting for validation from others. You carve your own path. You create your own destiny. When you stop seeking approval from the world, you stop being chained to its expectations. That's the moment you become unstoppable. The lone wolf doesn't follow the herd. They don't look for permission to live life on their own terms. They trust their instincts. They hunt for their own dreams, on their own timeline, with their own vision. And yes, it's hard. It's lonely, but the lone wolf understands that greatness never came from staying comfortable. Embracing your differences. If you've ever felt like you don't fit in, it's because you weren't meant to. You weren't designed for mediocrity or conformity. Being a lone wolf is not a curse. It's a blessing. It means you think differently. It means you're capable of seeing the world in a way that others cannot. And while everyone else is fighting for the same things, running in the same circles, chasing the same dreams, you, the lone wolf, are out there chasing your vision. Embrace your differences. That's where your power lies. The world doesn't need more of the same. The world needs you, exactly as you are. The struggle of being alone. Let's be real. There will be nights when the weight of being alone feels unbearable. There will be days when doubt creeps in, when fear takes over. But these are the moments that define you. These are the tests that shape you into something unbreakable. Most people give up when they feel alone. They retreat. But the lone wolf, they rise. They turn their loneliness into fuel. They take the pain, the isolation, and they use it as motivation to keep pushing forward. It's in the darkest nights that the lone wolf sharpens its claws, strengthens its resolve, and prepares for the hunt. The reward of walking alone. Walking alone is not the easy path, but it's the path to greatness. You will face challenges, betrayals, setbacks, but the reward is far greater than the struggle. Lone wolves are not defined by the opinions of others. They define themselves. They build an unshakable foundation, grounded in their own beliefs, their own principles. The road is tough, but the view from the top is worth every step. Because when you make it, when you achieve the dreams you've been working for, when you reach the goals you've sacrificed so much for, you'll realize that you never needed the crowd. You never needed the approval. You were enough. You were always enough. The legacy of the lone wolf. The lone wolf mentality is a legacy. It's a mindset that sets you apart from the masses. When you walk alone, you inspire others to break free from the herd. You show them that it's possible to live on your own terms, to create a life that is meaningful, powerful, and uniquely yours. And someday, someone else will look at your journey and say, "Because of you, I wasn't afraid to walk alone." The lone wolf leaves a trail for others to follow, not by conforming, but by being fiercely, unapologetically themselves. Conclusion: be the lone wolf. So if you find yourself walking a path where there's no one else around, keep going. You are not lost, you are not broken, you are the lone wolf, destined for something greater than the ordinary. And when you stand at the top of the mountain, looking down at the world, you'll realize you didn't need anyone else to make it. You were enough all along. Embrace the lone wolf mentality, because the only validation you need is your own.